we're looking at heterosexual couples, because obviously not everybody's in a heterosexual couple, you know, we can't get away from the fact that men are still more likely to be the main earner, the breadwinner, using that historical phrase. But actually, what a lot of consumers and sometimes advisors really think about is that breadwinner is going to carry on as normal if something should happen to their partner, who is probably going to be the primary carer. So even if that person, they might be working full time themselves, but just not earning quite as much, they might be doing part time, working around family commitments, they might be a stay at home mum. But that person has a real role to play within the home, and actually a monetary contribution to the home as well, even if they're not actually earning anything themselves.
By talking certainly about just a male breadwinner, you're really concentrating on 50% of the advice that you should be given. And that's really important to kind of highlight, because you can't understand the advice you should give without understanding both the male and the female's current situation.
The breadwinner, they might be doing a really full-on job, commuting, they might have to do some travel. And if, for example, that person's got young children, would they really want to carry on with that job when they've just potentially lost their partner, or their partner is really seriously ill? Arguably, they wouldn't. They'd want to, at the very least, take some time out to focus on the family. But actually, longer term, they might also want to completely change their role as well. They might want to adjust their hours or change jobs completely so they can actually balance their home life as well as their work life a little bit better. So we can't just assume that breadwinner earning whatever it is that they're earning today can just carry on paying those bills and carry on with the lifestyle that they've got, because they might just obviously want to change that should tragedy strike and they need to support their family.
And really understanding what their needs are. So is the woman working? Is she working full time? In that case, she's got exactly the same needs as the man. So that's important. Has she gone back to work? Is she working part time? What does that mean for the family? How is that helping them support their bills? And does that need reviewing? Or is she at home and looking after the children? In which case, that's a massive role. And what would the impact be if she was taken ill, or if she was to die?
The issue that you have in only having one person being covered, what happens when the other person passes away as well? Now, I understand you can do joint policies, but I always say to clients, you should both be covered separately.
I very rarely have a conversation. If it's a couple, I very, very rarely will have a conversation excluding one of them. They're all, 9 times out of 10, they'll both be on the call, and you get different questions and you get different challenges.
I've got a friend who had a policy with his wife at the time, and then they got divorced, and he was the only one paying for the policy, so we covered both of them. So he had to cancel the policy, but because his partner is now older and her health conditions have changed, she was not covered, and for her to get covered again, it's going to be more expensive for her. So with that example, obviously, if you're together in a relationship, you want that to last forever. But if anything negative happens and you separate, you want to make sure you're covered. And point 2, you might want to cover different people as well, because we've now got more blended families happening as well. So that's the reason why I feel each individual should have their own cover, whether you're together with someone or not.
It's critically important that all interested parties in protection advice should be fully involved. And it's true that historically advice has been centred around the main breadwinner, but that main breadwinner is quite often now a female. I think the message is, don't assume and include all parties equally, as it affects both males and females. The other point is that historically an advisor may have focused on protecting the male as the priority. Well, that's wrong. The impact on a male if he loses his wife or partner creates, in my opinion, even more disruption at a time when they need it least. So we need to include both males and females in every conversation, and that means both male and female advisors taking the lead to do that.